Hello everybody and welcome to stage 2 of the Tour de Monde, the 12-stage 16-day event being hosted by OTR e-racing and Magic Road Events. Today, stage 2, Liege, Belgium. This is a 37.3 kilometre race with 681 kilometres of climbing. So it will be quite a challenging race. It's very hilly, lots of ups and downs. So if I have a little play here, I can show you the full elevation map. There we go, along the bottom there. You can see straight into some climbing, up and down all the way through the course, and then a bit of climbing up to the finish as well. So it's going to be a day for the punchers, day for the engines. But we've got a good turnout here, 124 riders currently in the pen. Just under a minute before the flag drops and everyone's away. We'll be doing my best to cover the whole field. We'll be focusing on the front of the race, but also looking around at the other riders as well. Making sure we can cover all the teams. There's a lot of teams in here today. We've got OTR, WKG, you can see some dirt jerseys in there. Team 3R, some herd jerseys. So yeah, there's a real mixture of riders and teams. So this is stage 2. This is the third running of today's stage. And the time to beat is 1 hour, 5 minutes. That's the pace from the early events. But I imagine that will be smashed out of the water with such big numbers today. So here we go then. Here's the early riders up the front. Big red numbers straight out the gate. You can see on the top right there, we're straight into a climb for about the first 800 meters, 6.8%. I think that will rise slightly as well as we head around this left-hand corner. This will really start to break up the pack straight from the off. But we've got some strong riders there. You can see the red numbers on the left-hand side. People already well above their FTP threshold limits, 6 watts a kilo there. But look, good big bunch here already sticking together. That's good to see. Look at that, isn't that great? 124 riders there, all the way back down. That's a brilliant sight. Good to see so many riders stepping in, well, getting on their saddles, getting on their bikes for this first running of the Tour de Monde. Well, I'm at the back because I'm just going to be soft pedaling. Actually saying that, no, that's the leader. That is Jan van der Linden, the Dutch rider. He's been very prolific in the AEST morning series that's hosted by David Daly. He's setting the early pace there. There's a long way to go there, as I say, 36, 37 kilometres. But he might just be riding at a comfortable level for his pace just at the beginning there. Settling into a nice easy rhythm for him up that hill, and then he might just wait for the rest of the pack to catch him up. So let's have a little look back down the pack then. So we've got Kay Brown there leading the chasing pack. Our Lopez, Joris Shepherd's there in the black kit with the orange helmet, and his teammate Andrzej Kruczewski. They're both from Ratio Racing. They've been very prolific in the team time trial competition that's been run. And they've worked together well. So I wonder if we see some team tactics from them. I think just behind them in this little bunch as well, we've got Van Beers. He's also from Ratio Racing. So 3 of them there in that front group. I'm sure we'll be seeing them work together because this is very much a team competition as well as an individual competition. Nick Hall there, he's a strong rider. He did well in the Vive la France event. Mathieu Dujon, he's the former Swift French national champion. So some good pedigree of riders in this event. Christophe Constant, he did very well in yesterday's individual time trial that was held on the Colorado Rapids stage in the Grand Canyon. So it looks like we've got a front leading group here of about 20 riders or so. And then there's a 50-metre gap back little bit of a split here. Riders trying to come across on this little downhill stage. Very, as expected, broken up initially from that big hill. And you can see in the top right hand corner just what that has done to the whole pack. You can see all the little white blobs there all spread out. We've got a few riders here working together. Hans Persson. Ride to Cure Neuroblaster, that's Steve Taylor, I believe. He's had a good start there. They've got a little group forming now, 5 or 6 riders. Ben Phillips, another Ratio Racing rider there in the black kit and orange helmet. So we'll work our way back. This next little group. You can see now the group's starting to coalesce, help each other out. 3 riders there in the same kit, not quite sure who they are. That's the hot chili kit though, the sort of dark grey with the orange bands on. So everyone's up and away, off to a good start. If you are joining on the stream, then please do leave some comments. Thanks Trumpton, getting in there nice and early. Hopefully the sound quality is all good, using a new microphone today. So if you give me a shout out on whether that's nice and clear, that'd be appreciated. Alright, let's go back through the pack then. See what we've got going on here. We start to hit the first of these downhills. Oh, gone the wrong way there, that's me cruising at the back. So it looks like this front group then has come back together. Oh, tight right hander there. A few people on the chat there just saying nice sunny day in Belgium, certainly is. Look like that in the UK today, a bit fresh though. These riders will need to watch out for ice on the roads. Luckily there's no virtual cobbles. We've got Sebastian Bushman as well in the green kit there. He's a strong sprinter. He'll be looking to get over these punchy climbs and make his way to the finish line. Cheers Chris, thanks for confirming that sounds good. So, bit of a downhill here then, 6-7%. Got to be careful, make sure you don't fall off the back. Easily done. Someone's starting to push at the front, but it looks like these guys are going to try and work together a little bit. And as I say that, Mr. Forho off the front there, just putting in a little bit of an effort. A couple of riders there as well. As I said, look, just dropping off the back there, Barkley and Kimber. They've just lost contact a little bit there and having to put in a bit of a big effort to try and get back on. They're in the red numbers, everyone up above look in the white numbers. But it looks like they might just get back. They're sort of 15 metres behind. It looks like that front group is pushing on. There are a few corners here. That might just slow down that group and allow them to come back. Or they might just bide their time and try and catch them on the next hill that's coming up in just about a kilometre's time. There's going to be a lot of animation in this race with so many ups and downs, lots of twists and turns as well. Riders really have to be on the ball the whole way through. There's going to be nowhere to hide in this course. Alright, let's have a little look back down through the... Oh, actually, before we do, looked like they were perhaps just making contact again there. Kimber's got back across. Looks like Barkley's just going to just use these corners if he can push out. You might have a chance just to get back on, I'm sure, as they start to get up this hill as well. We might just be able to get back with the Korean rider Kim as well there in the front group. He was a strong rider in the Tuesday night track Omnium event that happened on Tuesday night, just gone. He was very strong in all the events. That's hosted by Chris O'Hearn. look out for that this coming week. It's the first of a 4-week series on that. So that's 4 events back to back, and that is very tough. That is a short sprint, short scratch race, a TT effort, and an elimination race. Well, Mads, looking at the times this morning, so the first 2 run-ins, because we run this event 4 times a day, give everybody, no matter their time zone, a chance to get stuck in. Time zone 2 was 1 hour 5 minutes for the winner, and time zone 3 was a little bit, sorry, not time zone 3, this is time slot 3. I'm just going to call up the results a minute, we'll have a quick little look, and I'll just get you that information. Just bear with me. I'm using the rgtdb.com website for this. This is a new community website. So Mike Swart, and Alex Plager, they're the guys who've been programming this, and they've done a really good job. Yeah, so the first time slot, the midnight GMT, was 1 hour and 7 minutes, which was Daniel Cadiz, he's a strong rider. And then the 6:30 AM GMT slot was Fock Levine, 1 hour 5 minutes. So that's your targets for these riders. Looks like it's broken up a bit here. Kimber falling off the back again there. A couple of riders as we hit this second hill on the course, just falling off the back. Mr. Brown off the front again though. He started strongly, but this main bunch is sticking together in the middle. 12, 13 riders or so. Kim here just doing his best to hold on to that pack. Looks like there's still 3 Ratio Racing guys in there, so they're going to be doing well on the team competition. I imagine that because this event has higher numbers, it will be a case that this will be a faster running. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go under 1 hour. Yeah, Chris, I will be racing some of them. Soft pedaling this stage. That's because I'm racing in the Echelon League this evening, and I don't want to ruin my legs for that. That's something I've been sort of focusing on. That's a long series that is every other week. But obviously I've been involved with some of the organisation of this, along with James Ogilvie and Samuel DeWalsey. They're the main guys behind this, really. They came up with the idea and the concept, and they've come up with the routes, come up with the magic roads. I'm just helping with some of the organisation and a bit of broadcasting. So as we move back here, you can see a couple of groups of 2 where it's sort of broken apart a little bit. I think this is Baz Morris from WKG. If it is, he rode in the VLF event. He's just off the front of this little group here. So lots of groups, 6 or 7 riders. A little group here. You don't want to be isolated on this. It's going to be hard work. If you're in a group of 8 or 9, then that's pretty handy. You can take turns on the front, sit in the pack a little bit, get a little bit of respite, save your legs for the hills. And you can see in the bottom here on the elevation chart, you can see the little white dots. See how quickly it sort of breaks apart as you come over that hill, how quickly those riders at the front are pulling away. But there's still a lot of climbing to do today, only 150 metres done. That's only about a quarter of the climbing. You can see that big red hill at the far end. That is going to be the decider. Who's going to have the legs to pull away up that decisive climb into Liege. I think Liege is being featured in this year's World Championships as well. They're being hosted in Belgium, in Flanders. That's happening in September. Hopefully we'll be able to get something on the RGT platform for that. I'm sure we'll be able to create a magic road of the event. Alright, let's move back down the field then. Here we are, the Ben Phillips group. 3 of them there. They're sort of 100 metres off that previous group. And Paul Torm as well. Shout out to him. He helped with some prizes in the recent community awards on RGT. That was really generous of him. Gordon Jackson in the chat there just saying this is horrible. I assume he's talking about the amount of climbing. It is a rest day tomorrow though, so whilst a few of these stages are quite tough, it has been broken up with a lot of rest days on Mondays and Fridays, give people a chance to recover. It is very much a roller coaster of a course. So Will Spencer there, familiar rider. I think he's also one of the Ratio racing guys. A little group. So everyone's doing well. Try and get into a group. Doesn't look like there's many isolated riders. These are 3 there. There's Tony Simmons just trying to get back onto that little group. He's sort of caught a little bit in between. There's a group behind him. So he's not too far off, only 50 metres. He seems to be riding at a decent pace though, 4 watts a kilo there. It's going well. Hopefully I'll be racing a couple in the week though. Jumping in myself. So tomorrow's a rest day. And then on Tuesday it's the Mount Tiananmen mountain stage. So that's the first mountain stage. That's 15-kilometre climb. That's a really nice magic road that Samir has put together. And then on Wednesday is the San Remo stage. So that covers approximately the last 40k of the Milan San Remo monument race, and that includes going up the Poggio as the final climb. So that's a bit like today, quite a hilly race. That should be another fun one. And then Thursday, oh, I'm testing my knowledge. I'll have to get back to you on that. I should know that really, shouldn't I? But yeah, we've got a real variety of stages. Some climbing, some flat ones, and then some mountain ones as well. Let's have a little look and I will work out what we've got coming up. Not too late to jump in. There is a 4th time slot today at 6:30 PM GMT. So yeah, San Remo on Wednesday. Oh, that's right, Uluru in Australia. A little tour around Ayers Rock. And that would be something quite different. That's the good thing about using the magic roads, is we really can take you all around the world on routes and courses that you wouldn't normally be able to ride, especially in these difficult times. Get you out and about. Another nice little group here. We're going to jump back to the front. It looks like we've still got a nice little bunch here of 15 riders or so. If you can spot your name there. So it looks like Kim just about managed to hang on up that hill. So we've got a little bit of a gentle downhill then before we've got a very large downhill coming up. So 14 in this leading group. And Marla's a bit isolated behind. And then there's a few guys actually not too far behind him. But this front group sticking together. They've got a nice healthy lead of 500 metres over the following groups. Be interesting to see if anybody tries to attack off the front here, just to try and stretch it out ahead of this downhill. That is a tactic that you can employ. You see there, that rider at the back there. Let's swing round, you can see that gap now. I'm having to work hard to try and get back on. And to burn some matches. Let's have a look who that is. Mr. Collins there, look at, he's at 8 watts a kilo. He's just got back on there just before we hit the real steep slopes. So 13k in. We hit Esno. Now we hit some 5, 6, 7% downhill slopes. So this is going to be fast. Speeds are going to rocket here. Do not want to get dropped at this point because this pack is not going to be slowing. Especially with these straight bits. About 70, 80 kilometers an hour. No one's braking here. There's no fear factor when you're on a virtual bike. Do still have the braking for the corners though. The speed drops right down through that little chicane. Look how quickly that last kilometre's got flown by. So a bit of a chance for respite for these riders. Mr. Lopez at the back there, 13th place. Just needs to be careful with him and Joujon. You don't want to get dropped on this hill. Little gap form there though. Bushman and Brown in a little bit of trouble there. I have to put out some nice numbers to try and get back across to that bunch. Just a little drop in concentration. Very easy to do. It might be best just waiting just a second. Save that power and hit it on the flat on that climb. You've got a bit of a better chance of pulling it back together. There we go, let me get back in contact with this short flat before the next bump. Not what they would have wanted to be doing. So about a third of the way into this race, actually more than a third, 20 minutes past in terms of the time. So that chart on the bottom does sort of stretch things a little bit. The chart in the top right is a bit more accurate. We've got a 5% climb coming up over the next 1 kilometre. 5% average. Take this turn. No one really pushing here. 5, 6 watts. Pretty standard for a gradient like this. That's just keeping people in the pack for a long way out. You can see coming up after this hill, a bit of a downhill, and then a much longer and slightly steeper uphill. It's more of a 2k effort, and that looks like it's up at over 10% the whole way, so that's going to be a real pain in the legs for these riders. Looks like producer here, just a little bit of a gap has opened up there. Well, Keith, it gives you a bit of an insight, doesn't it? Either it'll put you off. You either think, oh, this looks horrible, why am I putting myself through this in 6 hours time? Or it'll give you a little bit of a heads up, mentally, allow you to get mentally prepared. You see Lopez here shooting off the front, 35 metres off the front. Whether he's just trying to get nicely ahead so he can get a little bit of rest on this downhill. It'd be brave to attack the pack this far out, and a pack of this size. A few riders, produce a few there, looking to come across. I think Francois, I think it's your Francois, aren't you, Iniesta? The problem with the downhill speeds is that there's no fear factor when you're riding indoors. If you're outdoors and you're riding in a bunch like that, there's going to be little taps on the brake, just watching your position. And that's going to just keep the speeds a little bit slower. But when you're in the real world, or sorry, the virtual world, there's no need to do that. You feel safe all the time. You're not worried about coming off. You're not worried about crashing. And that just allows those speeds to rocket and rocket and rocket, which then means we do see those speeds of 80, 90, even 100 kilometers an hour, which isn't uncommon in the real world. You do see that sometimes in the pro peloton when it's really strung out, admittedly not when it's like a big bunch of 50 riders. And you're all right, RGT, I don't know about a patch coming soon, but they have said that they will be, oh, a nice little hairpin here. They are always reviewing it, and it is based on real world data, but they you know, this is a work in progress. How the real world works isn't necessarily how the virtual world works. So that's why they're not saying, no, we're done, we're dusted, this is perfect, figure it out, we'll go somewhere else. So they're looking at it all the time, looking at the way riders take corners, what their position is on the road, and reviewing it to make sure that everyone's getting a good experience. That being said, you can learn how the dynamics work and you can use that to your advantage. The way riders take corners, if you're on the outside here, look, like these riders in the front are with your jerseys at the back, you know you're going to have to push. If you're at the back, it's going to take you a bit longer to go around that corner if you're on the outside. So get ready, anticipate. I think riders are used to riding on maybe other platforms where you all just cruise around at the same speed, no matter what your position, and that's not quite how this works on RGT. So, you know, it'll be frustrating for a few races, but eventually you'll get it. You know, it's a bit like going from Mario Kart to Gran Turismo. There's a bit more to it when you're riding on RGT, but I think that does create a better racing experience. It does allow riders who are maybe not as strong in the legs to compete with those stronger riders. So using the Swift categories, for example, you can get B riders who can compete on a level playing field with A+ riders, because it's not just about a threshold effort. Yeah, that's really unfortunate, Neil. I do feel your pain. I had a bit of an issue myself yesterday in the Echelon race. As we go under the halfway banner here, as we hit this longer, steeper climb, so looking like a 9–10% gradient for at least a kilometre here. That's starting to mean we're getting some riders off the back here. Looks like a couple of the Ratio Racing guys here working together. So the team competition is based on your 3 best riders. So it's no good having your leaving your 3rd man behind. This front group now being whittled down. It's like 9. The very elite group here. Mr. Brown off the front again. Alright, we'll go back down through the field, check in on our other riders. With Kimber and Rowbottom working together. Like a few guys have come together here. Steve Taylor up into 17th, he's having a fabulous ride there. Here he is in the Team 3R kit. That's with Derek Bucock, another 3R rider. He also hosts some group rides on RGT Mondays and Fridays, and he's looking to set up a weekend slot as well. So have a look out for those. So these hills really breaking it apart. There we go, another 3R rider here, Mr. Fulcher. Rob Slater. So riders coming up these hills in 1s and 2s. Big bunch here though. So this reminds me a little bit of the Dartmoor Classic, a ride close to me down in Devon in the southwest of the UK. Very hilly. You get these hills up and down, and it gets sprung out like this and then regroups on the little downhills and on the flat sections. These riders will be keen to get through that halfway stage. Halfway in distance, but not quite halfway in climbing. This looks like a nice bunch here. If they get back together at the top, they could be working together. Try and pick up some of the riders in front of them. Keep working down the field then. In a little bit. Barkley there, not sure if he's off the back of the last group or the front of this group behind. Not much drafting when you're in a little group like this on at 10%. Even if you are in a group like this, it's pretty much all on you. Saving 1 or 2 watts, nothing more than that. So it doesn't really matter if you're in a group at this stage. So we passed the halfway stage in under 30 minutes for those front riders. I expect we'll be seeing it under an hour. Just want to give a shout out here to Ryan Vins. This guy broke his hip in the summer. He was absolutely smashing out the miles at the start of the year. 400k a week. And putting in some real big mileage. And then had a terrible accident. Back in, I think it was August, July or August. He's slowly been coming back, getting back to form. So yeah, big shout out to Ryan there. Doing a great job on his road to recovery. It's a real nice stream of riders up this hill. Then Phillips, the Rassier racing rider. Manning, Torn, John Sanika, riding for WKG. He was competing in Echelon as well in the community races. He won the Cat 3 race last Sunday, the Benton Park Classic. The Pro Invitational race that had been run this evening at 4:10 GMT. That's been broadcast by ZMS live streams. I'll catch that on Facebook or on YouTube. I'll also be riding in that. So that is a tough old race, but this is also looking pretty tough. Gradients there, 11-12%. That's really going to be hurting these riders. This is the front half then. We've still got 120 riders competing. Lots of talk on the chat, people encouraging each other, helping each other out in the groups, encouraging their teammates. Riley Harvey in the chat as well, in the ride. I assume he's riding. I actually interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. He was our first guest on the RGT interview series. And the second guest was James Ogilvie, one of the co-organisers of the Tour de Monde. You can find those on the YouTube channel. So please go and give those a listen. Yeah, you're right, Neil. Maybe it was a good thing that you missed out, eh? It's looking like a pretty tough climb. Things have really slowed down a little bit on this climb. Looks like someone's had a bit of an issue there, just pulling over to the side of the road. Wow, we're now hitting gradients of 14–15%. Look at that. There's a little bit of a respite after this, and then it's uphill again. Good to see so many riders. I'm going to jump back to the front. We've got Kay Brown here making a break for it, 130 metres off the front. That's a decent lead. See, we missed that when we were looking at some of the other riders. Okay, he's looking out of sight at the minute. You can't see the chasing pack. Looks to have fragmented a little bit more. Down to 7 riders. 6 riders in this little chase. A bit further back here, Collins, Alair, a bit behind there, Shepherd and Krajewski working together, along with Linden, Team Dirt, and then back a bit further to the next Rassier racer, Lambert. Steve Taylor up to 14th now, putting out some good numbers there. Back at the front, it's all about Kay Brown. Up to 22k now. Got another 500 metres before he crests that hill. That's it, Neil. Save those legs for later. Let them do the talking on the road. Yeah. Well, that'll get you up that first hill nice and quick, Neil. Unfortunately, I think it is a little bit now. You know, the success of the platform, RGT really is kicking off. Plenty of rides that you can just jump in. Do have 50 riders, 100 riders this last couple of weeks since that last update in the middle of December. Really has boosted the interest in the platform. Hopefully the developers will be looking at those numbers, thinking about have they got enough server capacity, making sure that people aren't having issues. So Mr. Brown here now extending his lead to 200 metres. He puts in a bit of a push to get to the top of this climb. A little bit of respite before a great big downhill. Be interesting to see if this solo rider will be able to stay away from the chase of 6 riders. But looking at this, you can see this is fragmenting a little bit as it reaches the top. Nick Hall up the front here. Kim and Lopez 10 metres back. And our 2 French riders, Ponton and Foujon, with Mr. Bushman. Another 30 metres back there. Now that's an interesting tactic. If I was these 6 guys, I'd be trying to work together. 6 riders is better than 1, especially on the flat. Take turns. Try and pull Mr. Brown back. Now it looks like it's 2 pockets of 3. Working slightly individually, and that's another difficult thing with racing online. If these guys were out on the road, they'd be shouting at each other. Wait up, let's form up, 6 of us together, beats 1 guy. But you don't have that when you're racing online. You've got the in-game chat. You could send a little message in there if you've got a little bit of spare mental capacity, just to take your mind off the road for a second and drop in a message and say, come on guys, let's work together, take turns. Or there is the general Discord channel. I know some of the teams have got their own group chats as well that they use to communicate on. Some of them will be in the general RGT Discord channel. These guys seem to be fighting each other, and there's still 14k to go, as opposed to working together to catch Mr. Brown, who, with a gentle downhill section, is just extending his lead now over 300 meters for him. These guys, there's still a 30-meter gap between them. And for me, that just seems like the wrong tactic at this time. But we'll come back to that. We'll keep an eye on it. Here we got Lair and Collins pumping out 4 and 5 watts a kilo, working together. They're 400 meters back. And we've got this little trio, the two Ratio guys of Kraszewski and Joyce Shepherd, along with Van der Linden. And this is where some of that time trial experience can come through. These Ratio guys, they're used to taking turns. They know the draft. If they can work with Linden here, there's a good chance they could pull back that 300 meters. Have a good one, Keith. Have a good ride. Enjoy Lou's ride as well. Say hi to him for me. That's the Lou's Sunday social. It is Sunday, isn't it? Today. I lost track over this Christmas period. That's at 3 PM GMT, 10 AM New York time. So Lou, he hosts those every Saturday and Sunday. They also have good turnouts. They're 30 to 40 kilometers depending on the course, usually pretty flat. And they're really sociable rides. The front will go off and race, but the rest of them will just be having a nice social chat. There's a lot of chat on those rides. So yeah, if you're not racing today and just looking for something casual, then do have a look at that and jump on in. Right, returning to the front then. Mr. Brown really putting the numbers in. 450 meters now. He's not eating up. He's still hitting 3 and 4 watts a kilo on this downhill. Driving home his advantage. If I go back, here we go then. These two groups of 3 have come back together on this fast downhill, leapfrogging each other. That seems to be the right tactic. Yeah, rest day tomorrow, but back to work, unfortunately, Keith. But these guys in this bunch, look, they're doing 1 watts per kilo on the front. Kim and Hall maybe at 3 watts a kilo. But Brown off the front, he's up at 5 kilos. So he's still putting enough power to try and stay away. The gap's come down a little bit, 400 meters. At the moment, for me, these guys aren't doing enough to close that gap. And that's just playing into the hands of Brown on the front. Have a little look on the sign-ups. I'll see if I can actually find his first name. That would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be nice for him. Keith Brown, there we go. He's having a great ride. So he did just looking at his history here, he did the Boxing Day Lee Loop TT and he won that. That was a 13-kilometer race, average over 5 watts a kilo. That is very strong. So clearly a strong rider. and we can see that. But it's just dipped under 400 meters now. And we've got a bit of a flat bit now, so that's going to play into the hand of this chase group. But we're under 10k to the finish. So we've got about 2 or 3k of flat, then another climb, and gentle-ish downhill before that final kilometre uphill to the finish. So this flat bit now, that's where this group's got to make a bit of a charge towards Brown, Keith Brown. And it looks like that's just starting to happen. That gap now under 300 metres. Yeah, you're right, Keith. This is it now. This is do or die for them, I think. But this is where you need them to be hitting better numbers than Keith. You know, take turns, get that rider on the front. So at the moment it's Constant. He's got to be matching what Keith is doing. Let the others sit in behind, have a little bit of a rest. He does a 20-second effort. So no push on. You can see there Nick Full in 6th place. He's at 2.4, pushing at 2. Kim on the front at 4. Got to keep that up. Rotate it round. Take turns. Work as a unit, not work with individuals. Because Keith is extending that lead again. That's 340. He's up at 5 watts per kilo. 4.5 to 5. Very impressive numbers. But he's doing a really good job staying away here. Be interesting to see how long he can keep that up for. Possibly he's done a refund on the course. He knows he can hold that effort for 15k. He's gone, right, I've got some downhill in here as well. I can push. And I know that's sustainable to the finish. But we shall see. These corners aren't going to help the chase, they're going to be slowing things up. Which is really now going to be an exciting finish, I think, whether these guys can catch that lone rider up the road. Right, we'll leave them for a little bit. We'll go back down through the field. Go a bit further back, Blair and Collins. They're 200 metres above this quartet of 3, who are slowly, I think, gaining on them. And you can see here, look, Podolski on the front, 3-4 watts a kilo. Shepard and Linden sat in behind. I think if we watch them maybe for a little bit, we might just see them taking turns. That little team tactic, team time trial tactic that I was talking about, but they're in a line. Linden's coming through now. Shepard's following. Podolski's going to slot in on the back, have a little bit of a rest. Linden's going to dial it in for a little bit. And then I imagine in a minute we'll see Shepard as well. Coming through. So they seem to be working well, slowly closing that gap down. The guys in front under 200 metres now. Because there's several competitions in one for this Tour de Monde. We've got overall time for the general classification for individuals and for teams. Then we've got a sprint competition. So that gives you points. There's 4 designated sprint stages. You get points for your finishing position on those. The mountains classification, 4 designated mountain stages, points on those, and then 4 hilly stages, and that gives you not as many points, but some points for the hills, for the flats, and some points for the mountains. So every stage you can get points towards your totals, as well as the overall general classification. Yeah, Plumpton, that's a good question. 5 watts per kilo for an hour, that's a very good standard. And we do employ a ride fare policy on RGT as a whole. Whilst I'm not affiliated to RGT, there is a sort of community initiative for ride fare. And I know that RGT themselves also have validation and verification processes in place to ensure that those riders who, some might just be on badly calibrated equipment, some might be on more dodgy setups, shall we say, to try and weed them out. And we'll have a look at his effort. Anything over 5 watts a kilo for an hour does get queried, and we could request a weigh-in and calibration videos from him. That is something that is in the sort of the handbook, and that's, yeah, to ensure that there is a fair playing field. And that's something we could review at the end. Right, so, but at the same time, you know, the riding for 5 watts a kilo for an hour, people can do that. That's not beyond the realms of human ability. The actual limit is around about 6.5 watts a kilo. If you're doing more than that, then you probably are on something like EPO. You know, Pro Tour riders, Tour de France, you're up at 6 watts a kilo for an hour. 6.5 and above, that is beyond human limit. Yeah, I think, Trumpton, you're right, most people are legit. I think, you know, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes there's dodgy equipment or whatnot, but it does have this, it's not a game, people do take it more seriously over on RGT, so, and people do police it a bit. I know 1 or 2 riders have been caught out before, and they have been approached, and they have responded, and we've seen better numbers from them. But back to the racing, and here we go then. These 3 riders, Shepherd, Linden and Kajewski, are about to catch Lair and Collins to get them into all 3 of them possibly into top 10 positions. They've done well to work together there. It looks like it's just breaking apart a little bit on this next hill. Some great scenery there. Look, we go through these bends up the mountains, or more hills than mountains, I guess. This part of Belgium. But look at that, though, isn't that fantastic? Snaking up and around. So it looks like Constant just being slightly distanced here. Gradient's back up to 8–9%. Mr. Brown still with a 220 metre lead. We approach the top of this penultimate climb. And once we hit the top, there'll be under 5k to go. So that's not leaving much time for these chasers. Another double-digit section, 13%. I know the course designers on this event, yeah, they've done a great job, I think, finding a lot of variety in events, really taking people all over the world, making it challenging. No day is easy, I don't tell you that much, but you've only got 2 days and a rest day, 3 days and a rest day. Not quite as back to back to back as the Tour de France. So it looks like Brown's pulled his lead back out to 500 metres if he's hit the top of that climb. And started on the descent of the other side. This chase group is down to 4. Constant and Bushman just falling off the back there. Looks like it was maybe 1 hill too many for Bushman. These guys will be glad to drop him because he is a strong sprinter. So now a bit of snaking downhill for the next 3 kilometres or so. Here we are then, Keith Brown And this 5% downhill section, nice and straight, allows him to keep his speed up. That's going to benefit him a little bit. There's only 4 guys behind now. They're going to be sharing more of the workload between themselves. Well, Keith, I hope you have a good ride and you manage to encourage them over. I don't really know much about Be Cool. I am soft pedaling this route just to make sure that my camera bot stays in. Just crunching through my gears there, which you might have heard in the background. Alright, let's have a little. I'm going to go to the back. Oh, here I am on that 14% section. All on my lonesome. 116th place. We've still got riders out here working hard. Good to see that they're not on their own. Look, there's little groups here. The 2 Ys together there. How Y. I can't quite remember what his wife's called. I should know that really, because well, both of them did the Vive la France event. I really should know that. And why, that's it. So I could see so many people sticking with the ride. Some people just completing all 12 stages will be the target. They're not worried about the front of the race. Everyone's got their own personal goals. It's nice to see that everyone's generally got a little bit of company. Adam Morgan, he sets up the SSR events on a Tuesday evening. Right, I'm going to jump back to the front because we're not far off the finish now. Kevin Brown, 700-metre lead, 1.7k to go. This has been a fantastic ride by him. As he approaches the bottom of the final climb of the day. It looks like it's broken up a little bit behind. Looks like Kim has been slightly dropped from that group of 4. He's just got back into contention there. So look at them here, sprinting, trying to put some gaps into each other before that climb. Nick Hall, BLF competitor. Mathieu Drujon, 2019 Swift French national champion. Lopez and Kim. Looks like Kim's just got dropped a bit here. These guys have pushed on. They're competing for the remaining 2 podium places. Right, here we are then. Bottom of the climb, 1.7k, an average of 6%. We can join Keith Brown there going under the Flamme Rouge. 1 kilometre to go. It's going to be looking good, I think, just to nip under that 1 hour mark. Pushing up this 6.5% climb. Nice and straight. You can almost see the finish line up ahead. There's Lopez. Just a little bit of a gap there on Drujon and Hall. They're holding steady just behind. It looks like Kim might just be coming back to this group. Yes, he is. He's just getting back on there. Close that gap of 30 metres that he'd lost on the short flat run into this climb. Looks like they're going to, these four are going to be fighting for silver and bronze today. I can only see gold going to Keith Brown at this stage. This long steady climb, just touching up above 7, gets a little bit steeper towards the top, and then there's a short flat run into the line. That's the 250 metre mark just at the top there. You can see the signpost on the right hand side. 7.5%. Going to be burning those guys behind. Here's Lopez, 20 metre ahead of Kim, who's pushed past Paul and Trujon. Possibly a bit of a lighter rider. He's pumping out 6. He's gaining on Lopez as well. So here's Keith Brown, 250 metres to go then. Gradient's levelling off. 3.8% now. And that final left-hander. 150 metres. Up to the line. Final little slope. Great effort from Keith there. Just over the 1 hour mark. 4.5 minutes ahead of the earlier time slots. What a fantastic effort there. She crosses the line. Take the win. Well done. Right, back then to these 4 guys fighting for the last podium places. Big attack by Trujon there. He's up at 11. What's the kilo there? Pushing into that left-hander. Kim trying to follow. Lopez 2. As we hit that left-hander, 150 metres up to the line. Looks like Trujon maybe has it. Oh, big attack by Lopez coming over the top of Kim in the last 100 metres. But Kim responds. Trujon's going to take second. And is Lopez going to pick Kim just on the line? They're going toe to toe. Lopez digs deep and he just takes it from Kim. Wow, that was a real slugfest to the end there. And here comes Nick Hall rounding out the top 5. Great effort from these guys. Oh, look at that. You see Lopez and Kim. See their speed that they were doing as they finished the furthest up past the line, indicating they crossed the line the fastest. But here's Christophe Contant rounding that final corner. He's solid. 6th place for him. Just watch him cross the line. There's Bushman just behind as well, rounding that final corner. Take on the last 150 metres, but it does kick up a little bit again. That is a tough finish. That is not a sprinter's finish. So that's Contant across the line. Here's Bushman cruising in, a casual 5. What's the kilo? He takes the line to take 7th. Right, let's have a look back here then. This final climb, we've got Alair, 8th place. Joris Shepherd's just behind at 60 metres, trying to close that gap. It looks like he's running out of time to do so, only 200 metres left. That's good riding by Shepherds though. Him and Linden. Looks like they've managed to distance Collins. Where he's gone. Gojewski coming up in 12th. Steve Taylor here, great result for him, finishing 11th. all blown apart on this final climb. So there's Lair across the line. Shepherd's in 9th. Linden about to come over in 10th. Here he comes. That's your top 10. All finishing just ahead of the earlier time slots. Great ride. Steve Taylor. I hope that's his name. If I've got that wrong, that's going to be embarrassing. With Team 3R. Krajewski from Ratio Racing come over 2nd. Good recovery from Kimber. 13th place. So he rounds that final corner. A good recovery from Poor Hog. Probably poor pronunciation. Finishing 14th. Strong ride by Rowbottom, another one of the Ratio Racing guys. He's just overtaken Van Bears there. His teammate, that's going to be 4 Ratio Racing guys in the top 20. That's a really strong team performance from those guys. Really should know the name of We Bicycles. But good ride from him, top 20. Looks like he's done enough just to stay ahead of Marler at the finish here. A bit of a gap back to Fulcher. Looks like he's being chased down by Soldana. We've got Russell and Fussell for sale. Morris. So, top 25 there. Few guys fighting for the top 20 positions. Good to see a few fireworks there in the last 300 metres from this group. Looks like Saldana's just catching Fulcher here. Just goes past just as we approach this final bend. We see a response from Fulcher here. He's got to watch out from behind as well. It looks like it's all pretty set there as we cross the line. Not much happening between those positions. As we round it out, that's your top 25 then. Oh, some tired legs there by the looks of it. Here comes back. Richard Golding, he organises a Vets race, age group categorised race. He's coming over in 26th, good result for him. Will Spencer, another regular, coming in 27th. Lots of riders coming through here. Jonty, McCready, Slater, Ryan Vince, just taking a couple places from when we last saw him, up to 32nd. Hans Persson in 33rd. And a bit of a gap back to Couper. Wow, great riding everyone. Yeah, a hard ride, I'm sure. For those of you doing the 6:30 slot, good luck. And you can still jump in as well. It's not too late. We have said that we've released the magic road code for stage 1, so you could jump in, ride all the 11 stages and just unofficially add your time 1 slot, which is an individual time trial, so there's no drafting benefit from those. So you can work it out unofficially on the side if you like. Unfortunately, it's a bit too late now to join the official competition, but all of the magic road codes are available on the rgtdb.com website, and you could ride any of the upcoming stages. Just go for a stage win individually if you like. I'll be dropping in for a couple of stages, probably be riding both stages at the next weekend, stages 6 and 7, which is the Rio de Janeiro stage on Saturday, and the Angliru stage, which has got some fierce gradients, on Sunday. So that's coming up this week, and we'll try and stream some more of those. And hope you enjoyed today's stream. I will just keep it running for a bit longer just as we watch a few more of the riders come over. So we drop down through, now we're seeing the top 40th position riders coming in. Mr. Torm there. Mr. Moss just coming over for SDW. That was a strong finish by Mr. Torm there. Everyone finishing quite strongly, always nice. Get yourself across that line with a bit of speed, not just crawling across. Of course, every second counts on this general classification. There will be a lot of gaps because it is quite hilly, so from one day to the next it will vary quite a bit. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you've enjoyed the stream. Do check out the Echelon Racing League this evening from 4 PM GMT. There I am, down in 113th, 20k, still got 15k to go. Not sure I'm going to finish that. Well done, everyone. Looks like Hal's left his wife behind. He's told him to go on, go for that individual glory. Great to see these riders pushing on. Going to have over 100 finishes today. That's great to see. We've got a lot signed up for the late slot as well. Had 196 riders yesterday. I'm sure over the course of the event we'll get up over 250 or more riders, with those just taking place in one stage. Look at that, great scenery. Easy for me to say, I'm just sat here watching. Not so easy for those guys on the road. So hopefully they'll keep it up all the way to the finish. Get through a few more of these riders, give everyone a little bit of screen time, not just about the front of the race. Everyone deserves to get on screen. Everyone's in their own personal race. Well, thanks, Brompton. I did get a third last week in the community race, but I fully expect today to be a bit harder. The bigger field, stronger field, going to be challenging, but we'll give it a good shot. I won't be streaming. Hopefully I'll do a race review afterwards, depending on how it goes. Either way, actually, if it's good, you know, it's nice to show that, and if it's bad, it's good to look at it and say what went wrong. Gordon Jackson, WKG there. The guys who helped out with the Vive la France event. Our Peters, Stephen, they're on home turf in Belgium. Kate there, one of our female riders, doing well. Doug Hadlington there, 93rd place, still pushing on. Everyone seems to still be having fun out there. far back are these guys? So they've still got, they're in the last 5k now. Well done, guys. Oop, jump past Wilson there, Jenkins. They're on this final downhill section. Well done, everyone. Great effort, great turnout. Huge range of countries. And just on the screen there, look, Belgian, German, Danish, Scottish, Portuguese, French, all working together. Huge variety of kits as well. Robert Gill, good to see him taking part. He's one of the organisers on RGT. He sets up the Mountain Goat series that runs on a Wednesday evening UK time, which is dedicated to mountain climbing. I did that this week, and that was a hard 30 minutes solid effort up the Trolligston climb. I think that's the right pronunciation in Norway. He's not running it this week or next week because he's taking part in the Tour de Monde, but it will be starting again in 2 weeks' time. It's got the next 6 or so set up, some classic climbs like the Stelvio. Before that, got 4 good mountain stages in the Tour de Monde. Got the Angliru, we've got the climb up to Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, Mount Tiananmen in China. That's the next stage, stage 3, that's on Tuesday. We finish with a blast from the past, the Telegraph and Galibier climb, the back-to-back climb. That's the final stage of the tour, stage 12, and that really is going to be a brute. That's a good, I think it's a 30-kilometre climb, 32k maybe, and that is a 2 hours for the leaders, that event. So that's going to be quite a way to finish this whole event off. It was used in the Vive la France event, that was the stage 15. But yeah, that's going to be a great finish, a real sting in the tail for these riders. Luckily there is a short stage the day before. It's not back-to-back hard stages. So do check out the Facebook page, Tour du Monde official. That's we'll also be posting in the RGT users group and the Discord channel. The link is in the description of this video. Just go through these last few riders as they come up to the final K. There's Derek Bucock. He organises several group rides Mondays and Fridays, and then he will be starting something on the weekends after Tour de Monde as well. Dan Petit there just in front of him. Evans, Moorhead, Barbu from Romania. Got a feeling that's possibly one of the developers from RGT. Just catching Riley Harvey there. Come on, Riley, dig deep, man. Stick with it, only 330 meters to go. Riley's one of the moderators of the Facebook group. Does a sterling job helping out other users. As I mentioned earlier, I interviewed him a few weeks ago on the RGT interview series. He was my first guest. You can find that on my YouTube channel, so please go and give that a listen, and then follow that up with a listen of the interview with James Ogilvie, one of the founders of OTR Racing, co-organiser of the Tour de Monde. There we go then, look, Riley's giving it a little push. He's into the red numbers there. Looks like Barbie might just have the better of him though as we approach the line. Well done, everyone. Great riding all round. Fantastic effort. Good to see a few riders hanging around at the finish as well. Drew, John, Bushman, they've been there 20 minutes or so, but they're still sticking around, waiting for these other riders to come home. Great to see. Good sportsmanship all the way through. Nice support from everyone as well. So good luck to those of you riding this evening. Hopefully you're not too put off by what you've seen here today. Thanks, James. That's been a nice gentle spin for me. I think my dots even disappeared off the screen. I'm so far back. But I thought I might as well pedal, get a few Ks in. We followed Bednall and Ben here. There's no let up on this. It's a great finish, unless you're riding it, of course. It does mean everyone's got a chance to really fight the position all the way to the end, try and get a few vital seconds. As Ben just pulls away from Bednall there. Actually got a little bit of a chance to catch Mr. Bucock. Oh, let's get out the trees. Even I'm getting a bit, our cameraman's getting a bit tired there. Good to see everyone coming over the line. Oh, look at this, look at Walker go, really pushing that last little bit there. He's getting a couple of places, a few seconds. Great effort there. And valuable points for the OTR racing team. OTR, they've got 4 teams in this. They've got their own little inter-club competition going on, as well as fighting for the overall. I think it was OTR Black, possibly, who are leading after stage 1. But 12 stages, long way to go just yet. Derek Russell, Cotton, Robert Gill. These guys all coming up that final climb now. So Ann Y and JMC here coming around this great little turn. That is a nice little bit of scenery. We've still got 6k to go. I'm sure they're going to take it all the way to the line. Some interesting comments there in the group chat. People found that challenging. It really was. I know that Samir has nicknamed the organisers the Architects of Pain. It's all about pushing you this January. Great to see. So many finishers. We had 124 starters, including myself. Still 113 in this race. You know, that's really good. Shows people have been committed to this. No one's taking it lightly. No one's leaving early. Maybe 1 or 2 technical, mechanical issues. But to see so many taking it all the way to the line. Great to see, and I'm sure that's going to continue the whole way through this series. We will get the results posted as soon as possible for the stage GC on RGT DB, so check that out. And you can see the individual race results for any race on there. Just take a little bit of processing for us to combine all the stages together. And then James Ogilvie, he's doing all the points calculations and the team competition calculations. That's all done a bit manually in a spreadsheet, so that'll take a little bit of extra time, so we appreciate your patience with that. But that will be with you after the final stage of the day. I will try and cover a few more races this week as well, some of which I will be racing in and commentating at the same time, so it might not be quite as good as today's coverage. But hopefully it gives riders a chance to have a little bit of a preview of the course, see what they're in for. So these last few riders just getting to the top of that penultimate climb. And at least they get a nice bit of respite on that downhill. You can see that final hill there, just in the distance. That's what the riders have got coming their way. I don't think you can see that from our eye level. It's probably just as well. A few more riders just coming under the Flamme Rouge there. The little battle here between these three. Good to see all the way down. Doesn't matter what position you're in, everyone's really pushing themselves. Morgan here just pushing past Blackmore. He's got Ciccione 45 metres ahead of him. 500 metres to close that gap. It looks like Ciccione is probably going to just hold on to that, I'd have thought. Got slightly higher watts per kilo. Just allowing him to stay in front. Morgan cementing his position there ahead of Blackmore. French rider for 3i Musset's going to round out our top 100. So we'll watch him cross the line, then I'm going to sign off, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And hope to see you all again soon. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll leave it on just to watch those final riders come over, but I'll be signing off on the commentary once Musset has crossed the line. All right, thanks everyone, and I will see you again soon.